Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiriye nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila chapter 1, the later pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text number 1 onwards. Yasya prasadadagyopi sadhya sarva gyatam vrajet sa Shri Chaitanya Devo me Bhagwan samprasidato. Even a person with no knowledge can immediately acquire all knowledge simply by the benediction of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, I am praying to the Lord for his causeless mercy upon me. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahotito Godo de Pushpavanto Chitro Sando Tamonudo. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Shri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and the moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. Jayatam Suruto Pangur Mamanda Materagati Matsarvasva Padamboju Radha Madan Mohan. Glory to the all-merciful Radha and Madan Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors and their lotus feet are everything to me. Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha Srimad Ratnagar Singhasanasthu Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Pristhali Visevya Manu Smarani. In a temple of jewels in Vrindavan underneath a desire tree, Shri Radha Govinda, served by their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my humble obeisances unto them. Shriman Rasa Rasarambhi Vanshi Vatatatastita Karshana Venu Svanera Gopi Gopinatha Shriyastuva. May Gopinath Ji, who attracts all the gopis with the song of his flute, and who has begun the most melodious rasa dance on the bank of Yamuna in Vanshivat, be merciful upon us. Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandra Jaya Kripa Sindhu Jaya Jaya Sachi Sutta Jaya Dina Bandhu. All glories unto Shri Gaura Hari, you as an ocean of mercy. All glories unto you, the son of Shachi Devi. For you are the only friend of all fallen souls. Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Shri Vasadi Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories unto Lord Nityananda and Advaita Prabhu, and all glories unto all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, headed by Srivas Thakur. Purve kahilu adi lila sutra gan yaha vistariya chena dasa vrindavan. I have previously described in synopsis the Adi Lila, initial pastimes, which have already been fully described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Atevatar Ami Sutra Matra Kahilu Yekichu Vishesha Sutra Madhye Kahilu. I have therefore given only a synopsis of those incidents, and whatever specifics were to be related have already been given in that synopsis. Ebe kahi Shesha Leela Mukhya Sutra Gan Prabhur Ashesha Leela Najaye Varnan. To describe the unlimited pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not possible. But now I wish to relate the chief incidents and give a synopsis of these pastimes occurring at the end. Tara Madhya Jai Bhag Dasa Vrindavana Chaitanya Mangale Vistari Karila Varnana Sai Bhage Riha Sutra Matra Likhiba Taha Ye Vishesh Kichu Iha Vistari. I shall describe only in synopsis that portion which Vrindavan Das Thakur has described very elaborately in his book Chaitanya Manga. Whatever incidents are outstanding, however, I shall later elaborate. Chaitanya Lila Ravyas Das Vrindavane Tara Agyay Karo Taro Chishtacharam. Actually, the authorized compiler of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Srila Vrindavan Das, the incarnation of Vyasadeva. Only upon his orders am I trying to chew the remnants of food that he has left. See the humility. Although Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was given these orders by so many devotees, even Nityanand Prabhu asked him to write this pastimes. And he's saying, he is only Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is the authorized compiler. I'm not. Bhakti kari shire dhari tahara charan, Shesh Leela Sutra Gana kariye varnan. Placing his lotus feet upon my head in great devotion, I shall now describe in summary the Lord's final pastimes. 24 Vatsar Prabhur Grihe Avasthana, Taha Ye Karila Lila Adi Lila Nam. For 24 years, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at home, and whatever pastimes he performed during that time are called the Adi Lila. 24 Vatsar Sheshe Yai Magamas, Tara Shukla Pakshe Prabhu Karila Sannyasa. At the end of his 24th year, in the month of March, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, the Lord accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas. Sannyasa kariya 24 vatsar avasthana, taha yai lila tar, shesha lila nam. After accepting sannyas, Lord Chaitanya remained within this material world for another 24 years. Within this period, whatever pastimes he enacted are called Shesh Leela, or pastimes occurring at the end. Shesh Leela Madhya Antya Dui Nam Haya Leela Bhede Vaishnav Sabha Nam Bhede Kaya. The final pastimes of the Lord occurring in his last 24 years are called Madhya, Middle, and Antya, final. All the devotees of the Lord refer to his pastimes according to these divisions. Tar Madhya Chaya Vatsar Gamana Gamana Nila Chala Goda Setu Bandha Vrindavan. For 6 years of the last 24, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled all over India, from Jagannath Puri to Bengal, from Cape Comorin to Vrindavan. Taha Yai Lila Tar Madhya Lila Nam, Tar Pache Lila Antya Lila Abhidan. All the pastimes performed by the Lord in those places are known as the Madhya Lila. And whatever pastimes are performed after that are called the Antya Lila. So in these 6 years, when he traveled, when the devotees would come to Jagannath Puri for Yatra, Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra, and meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So all those pastimes are in Madhya Lila. And rest of the 18 years are in Antya Lila. Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, Antya Lila, Ebe Madhya Lila Kichu Kariya Vistara. The pastimes of Lord are now divided into 3 periods, the Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, and Antya Lila. Now I shall very elaborately describe the Madhya Lila. Ashtadasha Varsha Keval Nila Chalistiti Apani Achari Jive Shikhaile Bhakti Shikhaile Bhakti. For 18 continuous years, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at Jagannath Puri and through his personal behavior instructed all living entities in the mode of devotional service. Tara Madhya Chaya Vatsar Bhakta Gana Sange Prema Bhakti Pravartaila Nritta Gita Range. Of these 18 years at Jagannath Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent 6 years with his many devotees. By chanting and dancing, he introduced the loving service of the Lord. Nityananda Gosaire Pathaila Goda Deshe Teho Goda Deshe Bhasaila Prema Rase. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent Nityanand Prabhu from Jagannath Puri to Bengal, which is known as Goda Desh. And Lord Nityananda Prabhu overflooded that country with the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Sahajai Nityananda Krishna Premudan Prabhu Agya Kaila Yaha Taha Premadan. Shri Nityananda Prabhu is by nature very much inspired in rendering transcendental loving service to Lord Krishna. Now being ordered by Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he distributed this loving service anywhere and everywhere. And before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Nityananda Prabhu, he didn't preach. Although he appeared 13 years before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. But he went on pilgrimage with that sannyasi who came to take him. And then he was just staying in Vrindavan. When he got the news that Mahaprabhu has started the Kirtan, Sankirtan at Shrivasangan, then he decided to come to Navdeep. And even then he did not start preaching. See, the reason he wanted to show to the world that even though we might talk about Krishna, but our preaching becomes effective when it is ordered by Guru. So he gives his mercy along with the instructions, so the preaching becomes effective. Of course, Prabhupada has given us the instructions in a wholesale way, and everybody should preach. But this is what Nityananda Prabhu wanted to show to the world. And then he was preaching in Navdeep when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there. He transformed the hearts of Jagai and Madhai and so many other people. But when Nityananda Prabhu with other devotees, they used to come to Jagannath Puri every year. So one year Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, Nitai, you do not need to come here every year. You stay in Bengal and preach. So then he started. And then he asked Nityananda Prabhu to get married also. He said, I have taken sannyas, so I cannot preach to Grihasthas. But you get married and you preach to Grihasthas. And then Nityananda Prabhu got married. Tahara charane mora koti namaskara Chaitanera bhakti eho lavaila sansara. I offer innumerable obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is so kind that he spread the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. Chaitanya Gosai are bole bada bhai, teho kahe mor Prabhu Chaitanya Gosai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to address Nityananda Prabhu as his elder brother, whereas Nityananda Prabhu addressed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his Lord. So this is a transcendental relationship. And they both wanted to serve each other. Yadyapi apani hai Prabhu Balaram, tathapi Chaitanya kare dasa abhiman. Although Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balaram himself, he nonetheless always thinks of himself as the eternal servant of Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Seva Chaitanya Gao Lao Chaitanya Nam Chaitanya ye bhakti kare sahi mor prana. Nityananda Prabhu requested everyone to serve Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chant his glories and utter his name. Nityananda Prabhu claimed that person to be his life and soul who rendered devotional service unto Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu would tell everybody, love Krishna Nam, chant Hare Krishna, but Nityananda Prabhu would say, take Chaitanya name. Serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chant his glories, utter his name. Ei mata loke Chaitanya bhakti laila, dina hina nindak sabare nistarila. In this way, Srila Nityananda Prabhu introduced the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to everyone without discrimination. Even though the people were fallen souls and blasphemers, they were delivered by this process. So this is why both these brothers, Actually, Nityanand Prabhu is considered more merciful than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Nityanand Prabhu went after these fallen souls and blasphemers and sinful people, asked them to chant the names of Gora. Bhaj Gorango, Kaha Gorango, Loho Gorangera Namare. तबे प्रभु ब्रजे पठाइला रूप सनातन प्रभु आज्ञा दुई भाई आइला वृंदावन. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then sent the two brothers, Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Sanatana Goswami, to Braj. By his order, they went to Sri Vrindavan Dham. Bhakti Pracharya Sarva Tirtha Prakashila Madana Gopala Govindera Seva Pracharila. After going to Vrindavan, the brothers preached devotion service and discovered many places of pilgrimage. They specifically initiated the service of Madan Mohan and Govindji. Nana Shastra Ani Kaila Bhakti Grantha Sar Muda Adham Jane Rate Ho Karila Nistar. Both Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami brought various scriptures to Vrindavan and collected the essence of these by compiling many scriptures on devotion service. In this way, they delivered all rascals and fallen souls. Srila Srinivas Acharya has sung, Nana Shastra Vicharaneka Nipuno Sadharma Sanstapako Loka Nam Hitkarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanya Karo Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Vajananandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghu Yugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. The six Goswamis, under the direction of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami, studied various Vedic literatures and picked up the essence of them, the devotion service of the Lord. This means that all the Goswamis wrote many scriptures on devotion service with the support of the Vedic literature. Devotion service is not a sentimental activity. The essence of Vedic knowledge is devotion service, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Vedasya sarver ahameva vedya. All the Vedic literature aims at understanding Krishna, and how to understand Krishna through devotional service has been explained by Srila Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis with evidence from all Vedic literatures. It's not like they were making it up. It's mentioned in all Vedic literature. They have put it so nicely that even a rascal, a first-class fool, can be delivered by devotional service under the guidance of the Goswamis. So this was the service of six Goswamis. Besides, especially Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, besides excavating all the Leela places of Vrindavan, where Krishna and Radha and Krishna had performed their pastimes, and to establish the temples. Prabhu Agya Kaila Sabha Shastre Vichara Rajera Nighuda Bhakti Karila Prachara. The Goswamis carried out the preaching work of devotional service on the basis of an analytical study of all confidential Vedic literatures. This was in compliance with the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus one can understand the most confidential devotion service of Vrindavan. This proves that bona fide devotion service is based on the conclusions of the Vedic literature. It is not based on the type of sentiment exhibited by the Prakrit Sahajas. The Prakrit Sahajas do not consult the Vedic literatures in their debauches, women hunters, and smokers of ganja. Sometimes they give a theatrical performance and cry for the Lord with tears in their eyes. Of course, all scriptural conclusions are washed off by these tears. So, performing theatrical performance and cry for the Lord with tears in their eyes. And Prabhupada says all scriptural conclusions are washed off by these tears. Means these are not bona fide. It's not that one cannot cry or tears don't come out when we are performing devotion service. But the Prakrit Sahajas, or the emotional, sentimental, people. They forcibly bring out the tears and they show to everybody, oh, see, I am at such a high level of devotion service. Tears are coming out of my eyes. If they come out on their own while we're feeling um, some taste of bhakti, something we are feeling, yes, they're okay. It's not like the tears are wrong. But we should not be doing it cheaply to get the adoration of public. No. The Prakrit Sahajiyas do not realize that they're violating the orders of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who specifically said that to understand Vrindavan and the pastimes of Vrindavan, one must have sufficient knowledge of the Shastras. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. This means that devotion service is acquired from Vedic knowledge. Tashraddhana Munya, devotees who are actually serious of attain bhakti, scientific devotion service, by hearing Vedic literatures. It is not that one should create something out of sentimentality, become a sahaja and advocate such concocted devotional service. The people, even any part of devotional life, we do become emotional, sentiment, not just talking about sahajayas. Even in ISKCON, people become sentimental instead of following the, uh, instead of putting emphasis on Vedic literature or the conclusions given by Prabhupada in his books. We sentimentally try to follow something which is not according to the conclusions, but according to our own mental conditioning. And then we try to authenticate. And that's where we need to. And then depending upon if somebody is very extrovert and powerful in whatever way, position, money, or any other way, then he tries to induce others also in the same. That's also sentiment. So the idea is we should be in the proper association under the proper guidance of senior Vaishnavas, and then make progress instead of forcing something, sentiment. Many things go on. And we'll learn it as we grow. We'll learn it. And then we will see this is not really what's mentioned by Prabhupada in his books. It is not that one should create something out of sentimentality, become a sahaja and advocate such concocted devotion service. However, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur considered such sahajas to be more favorable than the impersonalists who are hopelessly atheistic. The impersonalists have no idea of the Supreme Personality of God. The position of the sahajas is far better than that of the Mayavadi sannyasis. Although the sahajas do not think much of Vedic knowledge, they nonetheless have accepted Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Unfortunately, they mislead others from authentic devotional service. And many things go on. Just like, I'll give you an example. In 1972 or so, Prabhupada was preaching, traveling, making devotees, temples, and everything was going wonderfully. And then he got the news that some sannyasis of the movement, they were preaching that Krishna has come in the form of Prabhupada. Now you might say, well, what's wrong with that? They are glorifying Prabhupada, but Prabhupada wanted to put a stop to this. Say, I'm not Krishna. I'm a living entity. I'm a jiva. I'm not Krishna. So quit spreading this wrong knowledge out of sentiment. And why Prabhupada wanted to stop? One, so the devotees don't get distracted. They don't start believing that the Guru is Krishna. Because he was afraid in the future, if these sannyasis or anybody becomes a Guru, then people will start worshipping him as Krishna. See the problem? And then what he did, there was a big group of these devotees. So he broke up that group. He didn't kick them out of his town. He broke up that group. He said, okay, you go there to preach, you go to that country to preach, you go to that. Just break up. So there were so many things. Even Prabhupada had to deal. And now Prabhupada physically is not there, so we have to take shelter of his books. So we don't make mistakes. Hari Bhakti Vilasar Bhagavata Amrita Dashama Tipani or Dashama Charita. Some of the books compiled by Srila Sanatana Goswami were the Hari Bhakti Vilas, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Dasham Tippani, and Dasham Charita. In the first wave of the book known as Bhakti Ratnakar, it is said that Sanatana Goswami understood Srimad Bhagavatam by thorough study and explained it in his commentary known as Vaishnav Toshan. All the knowledge that Sri Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami directly acquired from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was broadcast all over the world by the expert service. Sanatana Goswami gave his Vaishnava Toshani comment to Srila Jiva Goswami for editing. And Srila Jiva Goswami edited this under the name of Laghu Toshani. Whatever he immediately put down in writing was finished in the year 1476 Shaka or AD 1554. Srila Jiva Goswami completed the Laghu Toshani the year Shakabda 1504, AD 1582. The subject matter of the Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sri Sanatana Goswami was collected by Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami and is known as the Vaishnava Smriti. This Vaishnava Smriti Granth was finished in 20 chapters known as Vilasas. In the first Vilas, there is a description of how a relationship is established between the spiritual master and the disciple, and mantras are explained. In the second Vilas, the process of initiation is described. In the third Vilas, the methods of Vaishnava behavior are given, with emphasis on cleanliness, constant remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the chanting of the mantras given by initiating spiritual master. In the fourth Vilas are descriptions of sanskar, the reformatory method, tilak, application of 12 tilakas on the 12 places of the body, mudra, marks on the body, mala, chanting with beads, and Guru Puja, worship of the spiritual master. So Sanatana Goswami has given so much in detail in his book Hari Bhakti Vilas. Everything is described. In the fifth Vilas, one is instructed on how to make a place to sit for meditation, and there are descriptions of breathing exercises, meditation, and worship of the Shaligram Shila, representation of Lord Vishnu. In the sixth Vilas, the required practices for inviting the transcendental form of the Lord and bathing him are given. In the seventh Vilas, one is instructed on how to collect flowers used for the worship of Lord Vishnu. In the eighth Vilas, there is a description of the deity and instructions on how to set up incense, light lamps, make offerings, dance, play music, beat drums, garland the deity, offer prayers and obeisances, and counteract offenses. In the ninth vilas, there are descriptions about collecting tulsi leaves, offering oblations to forefathers according to Vaishnava rituals, and offering food. In the 10th vilas, there are descriptions of the devotees of the Lord, Vaishnavas or saintly persons. In the 11th vilas, there are elaborate descriptions of deity worship and glories of the holy name of the Lord. One is instructed on how to chant the holy name of the deity, and there are discussions about offenses committed while chanting the holy name, along with methods for getting relief from such offenses. There are also descriptions of the glories of devotion service and the surrendering process. In the 12th vilas, Ekadashi is described. In the 13th, fasting is discussed, as well as observance of the Mahadvadashi ceremony. In the 14th vilas, different duties for different months are outlined. In 15th vilas, there are instructions on how to observe Ekadashi fasting without even drinking water. Wow. There are also descriptions of branding the body with the symbols of Vishnu, discussions of Chaturmasya observations during the rainy season, and discussions of Janmashtami, Parshva Ekadashi, Shravan Dwadashi, Ramnami, and Vijayadashmi. The 16th vilas discusses duties to be observed in the month of Kartik, October-November, or the Damodar month, or Urja, when lamps are offered in the deity room or above the temple. There are also descriptions of the Govardhan Puja and Rath Yatra. The 17th vilas discusses preparations for deity worship, Mahamantra chanting, and the process of japa. In the 18th vilas, the different forms of Shiva Vishnu are described. The 19th vilas discusses the establishment of the deity and the rituals observed in bathing the deity before installation. The 20th vilas discusses the construction of temples, referring to those constructed by the great devotees. The details of Hari Bhakti Vilas Granth are given by Srila Kaviraj Goswami in the Madhya Lila. The descriptions given in those verses by Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami are actually a description of those portions compiled by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. According to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the regulative principles of devotional service compiled by Gopal Bhatta Goswami do not strictly follow our Vaishnava principles. Actually, Gopal Bhatta Goswami collected only a summary of the elaborate descriptions of Vaishnava regulative principles from the Hari Bhakti Vilas. It is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's opinion, however, that to follow the Hari Bhakti Vilas strictly is to actually follow the Vaishnava rituals in perfect order. He claims that the Smartha Samaj, which is strictly followed by caste Brahmins, has influenced portions that Gopal Bhatta Goswami collected from the original Hari Bhakti Vilas. It is therefore very difficult to find out Vaishnava directions from the book of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. It is better to consult the commentary made by Sanatana Goswami himself for the Hari Bhakti Vilas under the name of Digdarshani Tika. Some say that the same commentary was compiled by Gopinath Puja Adhikari, who was engaged in the service of Sri Radharamanji and who happened to be one of the disciples of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So different Vaishnavas, gurus have given different ways, but Prabhupada is saying we should follow Hari Bhakti Vilas properly, following this Digdarshani Tika. But Prabhupada himself did not write his commentary on Hari Bhakti Vilas. So he left this for his disciples to take care of. Regarding the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there are two parts, both of which deal with the discharge of devotion service. The first part is an analytical study of devotion service, in which there is also a description of different planets, including the earth, the heavenly planets, Brahmaloka and Vaikuntha-loka. There are also descriptions of the devotees, including intimate devotees, most intimate devotees, and complete devotees. The second part describes the glories of the spiritual world, known as Golok, Mahatmya, Nirupan, as well as the process of renunciation of the material world. It also describes real knowledge, devotion service, the spiritual world, love of God, attainment of life's destination, and the bliss of the world. In this way, there are 7 chapters in each, 14 chapters in. So much of literature has been given by the Goswamis. 6 Goswamis and then further so many other devotees. It might take us many years or many lifetimes maybe to study and to understand them. And that's why it's just easy to only read Prabhupada's books. Even that will take, I think it will take more than a lifetime to read everything, to understand everything. Not easy. यही सब ग्रंथ कैला गोसाई सनातन रूप गोसाई कैला जत की करो गणन. We have already given the names of 4 books compiled by Sanatana Goswami. Similarly, Srila Rupa Goswami has also compiled many books which no one can even count. Pradhana pradhana kichu kariya ganana lakh grantha kaila vraja vilasa varnana. I shall therefore enumerate the chief books compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami. He has described the pastimes of Vrindavan in 100,000 verses. Wow. Rasamrita Sindhuhar Vidakta Madhava Ujjvala Nila Maniyar Lalita Madhava. The books compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami include Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Vidagda Madhava, Ujjwal Nilmani, and Lalita Madhava. Danakeli Komudiyar Bahustava Ashtadasha Lila Chanda Arapadyabhali Govinda Viruddhavali Tahara Lakana Mathura Mahatmya Ara Nataka Varnana. Srila Rupa Goswami has compiled Dankeli Komudi, Stavavali, Leela Chanda, Padyavali, Govinda Viruddhavali, Mathura Mahatmya, and Natak Varna. Lagu Bhagavatamritadi Kekaru Ganan Sarvatra Karila Vraja Vilasa Varnan. Who can count the rest of the books headed by Lagu Bhagavatamrita, written by Srila Rupa Goswami? He has described the pastimes of Vrindavan in all of them. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati has given a description of all these books. Long purport. The Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is a great book of instructions on how to develop devotional service to Lord Krishna and follow the transcendental process. It was finished in the year 1463 Shakabda or AD 1541. This book is divided into 4 parts: Purva Vibhag, Dakhin Vibhag, Paschim Vibhag, and Uttar Vibhag. In the Purva Vibhag, there is a description of the permanent development of devotional service, the general principles of devotional service, the execution of devotional service, ecstasy in devotional service, and ultimately the attainment of love of Godhead are described. In this way, there are 4 laharis or waves in this division of the ocean of nectar of devotion. So it's like it's described in the waves. If it is the ocean, it has many waves. So this ocean is divided into 4: east and south, then west, and then north. It starts in a circle, clockwise. And east ocean or east division is divided into 4 waves, 4 laharis. In the Dakhin Vibhag, southern division, there is a general description of the mellow relationship called Bhakti Rasa, which is derived from devotional service. There are also descriptions of the stages known as Vibhav, Vanabhav, Sattvic, Vivachari, and Sthai Bhav, all on this high platform of devotional service. Thus, there are 5 waves in the Dakhin Vibhag division. In the Western division, Paschim Vibhag, there is a description of the chief transcendental humors derived from devotion service. So transcendental humors or mellows or rasa. These are known as Mukhya Bhakti Ras Nirupan, or attainment of the chief humors or feelings in the execution of devotional service. In that part, there is a description of devotion, service, and mutuality, further development in love and affection called servitude, further development in fraternity, further development in parenthood or parental love, and finally conjugal love between Krishna and his devotees. Thus, there are 5 waves in Western division. In the northern division, Uttar Vibhag, there's a description of the indirect mellows of devotion service. So there are, in bhakti, we always hear of 5 rasas, right? Shant, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. But there are 7 secondary rasas in all those 5 major rasas. And Prabhupada calls this indirect mellows, namely devotional service in laughter, devotional service in wonder, devotional service in chivalry, pity, anger, dread, and ghastliness. There are also mixing of mellows and transgression of different humors. Thus, there are 9 waves in this part. This is but a brief outline of the Bhakti Rasamrita. And we think Bhakti is very easy. No. How they have described, how they have analyzed everything in so much of detail, it's amazing. So, Nectar of Devotion, when Prabhupada was writing his commentary on that, on Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, then one, I don't remember the name, either Govinda Mataji or Parvati, I think Govinda Mataji, but I'm not 100% sure. She approached Prabhupada. She said, Prabhupada, you said Krishna book that Prabhupada gave, which is the summary study of 10th canto of Bhagavatam. He said it's not different from Krishna. Then she approached Prabhupada. She said, so Prabhupada, can we say Nectar of Devotion is not different from Radharani? Because it only deals with devotional service. And Prabhupada appreciated that. He said, yes, that is true. So we actually in this Bhakti Shastri program, we only discuss up to 19th chapter of Nectar of Devotion. Even that is very, very deep, up to 19th chapter. Because after that also starts the pastimes of Krishna in different rasas with his devotees. So those are very, very esoteric and goes deep into the mellows. So in the beginning stages, we are not qualified to study all that. So we only go up to 19th chapter. But even that is wonderful, wonderful book, Nectar of Devotion. The Vidagdha Madhav is a drama of Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Srila Rupa Goswami finished this book in the year 1454 Shakabda or AD 1532. The first part of this drama is called Venu Nada Vilas. The second part, Manmat Lekha. The third part, Radha Sangha. The fourth part, Venu Aran. Fifth part, Radha Prasadan. The sixth part, Sharad Vihar. The seventh and last part, Gauri Vihar. Then comes Ujjwal Nilamani and then Lalit Madhav. About these 2 books, Vidagdha Madhav, that's Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And then there is Lalita Madhav, Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka. So Rupa Goswami, just to give a little back, he was going to write all these pastimes under Vidagdha Madhav. And then he was traveling from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri. And then on the way, he stopped in a village. And the village was called Satyabhamapur. And Satyabhama came in his dreams in that village when he was sleeping. He said, no, don't describe all these pastimes in one book. Make them separate. When Krishna left Vrindavan, make it a separate book. Call it Whether she mentioned call it Lalit Madhav or she said call it differently. Then Rupa Goswami got up and he was like, oh wow, that's a great instruction. So then he divided into two books. The Lalit Madhav is a description of Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka. These pastimes were made into a drama and the work was finished in the year 1459 Shakabda. The first part deals with festivities in the evening, and the second with the killing of Shankachura. The third with maddened Srimati Radharani. The fourth with Radharani's proceeding towards Krishna. Fifth with the achievement of Chandravali. The sixth with the achievement of Lalita. The seventh with the meeting on Nav Vrindavan. The eighth with the enjoyment in Nav Vrindavan. The ninth with looking over pictures. And 10th with complete satisfaction of the mind. Thus, the entire drama is divided into 10 parts. Again, Prabhupada didn't write his commentaries on these two. So we understand that we are not qualified yet. Those who are qualified, they can read but even whatever Prabhupada has given is good enough for us to make progress. So much of detail. And these are only Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and some of their books are mentioned. There are so many other things they have written, and other Goswamis have written so many other books. So we'll stop here and take up the rest of the shlokas tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, are we going to study all these in Madhya Lila?
No.
No.
Madhya Lila is Mahaprabhu's pastimes. This
Okay.
Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is just saying that he sends 6 Goswamis, especially Rupa and Sanatan, to Vrindavan to write literature for future devotees. So he's just mentioning what books he wrote. But no, we are not going to study that.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, 18th chapter जो हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं ये मिल नहीं रहा मेरे को वेदा बेस में.
18 नहीं है, मध्य लीला का फर्स्ट चैप्टर.
अच्छा, मध्य लीला का फर्स्ट चैप्टर. ओके प्रभुजी, थैंक यू.
Yeah. So yesterday we completed Adi Lila.
जी.
बहुत डिटेल है प्रभु जी.
और बहुत ज्यादा. और ये कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी सिंह, he's just giving in synopsis everything. It's unlimited. Unlimited actually. ठीक है, चलो, we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu ji. Jai